Bye. Hello, everybody. My name's Sai. I am here on live with a fighter Q&A. This is where on Against the Fence, where we basically don't tell you what to think, but we kind of talk to you a bit more about these UFC fighters and a little bit more about how they are when they take the gloves off. So not just in the cage, we're going a little bit more behind the scenes. Now tonight, I'm going to be sitting down with a lightweight winner of the Tough 31 that was last year, and he is the personification of pain. Currently, he's got 20 wins and 8 losses. He's 1 win and 4 losses in the UFC. Now, Franklinton, Louisiana, USA. And in the lightweight division, it is one Kurt Holobaugh. The Hurt, of course, which is why the reference to how he is a personification of pain come in there as well. But Kurt, tell me, man, how are you? You well?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem, man.
Doing good. Thanks for having me on the
show. Good. No, it's great to have you, man. Thanks for your time. Thanks for jumping on. It seems like you're in transit. It's safe for you to, be on the call as well. You're not driving right now, but you're on a long road trip. I understand. Yep. Okay. It sounds like we're a little bit choppy on signal.
Yeah, I'm heading out to one of my coaches in Mobile, Alabama at Port City Kickboxing. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. It sounds like we're a little bit ropey on signal, so I'm not trying. It seems to be chopping up a little bit there. I think you might be going through a bit of a dead patch, but you're still live, so we're still with you.
But yeah, like I was saying, man, I'm heading out to Mobile, Alabama. Going to go train with one of my coaches I've been working with for a long time since, I want to say probably since 2014.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going on 10 years now. And, I've been working with him a lot. Jimmy Mills, been around the world a lot, old school kickboxing fighter.
Oh, right.
Also has an MMA record. So, yeah.
Not bad. Okay, cool. So looking forward to it. So you don't train often, but of course, we're going to get into that topic as well. I mean, we've got things to talk about from your next fight coming up, of course, with Kaynan. And then, of course, we got to talk about Tough 32, which is happening right now. You, of course, being a winner of Tough 31, so a little bit of insights to get in there. UFC 304 coming up too. So all to really get into in this chat. But, first and foremost, with that fight that you got coming up with Kaynan, this is part of the fighting camp. How has it been, and what's the experience been like, and how are you kind of going to be wrapping up over the next couple of weeks as we get into it?
Yeah, it's been fun. I feel like I used a lot of my experience in this training camp. I'm a veteran. I've been around for a long time. Got a lot of fights inside and outside the UFC and stuff like that. So, I'm really relying on that experience to carry me through a lot of these training camps. Of course, I'm training hard.
Yeah.
Multiple practices, sometimes a day, and just trying to stay healthy, man.
Yeah. No, that is key. I think I recall you saying something once before about your last matchup, and that was against, of course, Ogden, and it was a bit of an intense weight cut that you went through. Like, it was an intense training camp you went through, and adjusting to it was a little bit difficult. How are you doing things a little bit differently coming into this upcoming fight? And it seems like you are doing some cross training, of course, but tell us about that.
Well, yeah, so even coming up on that last fight, I didn't do a whole bunch of stuff different. It's just I think the biggest part from the last fight and this fight, I won the Ultimate Fighter. I got the victory over Austin Hubbard at UFC 292, which was I can't remember last August, and then I was out for 7 months. So it took like the UFC 7 months to book me. And throughout that 7 months, I felt like my weight got a little heavy. I got in the high 80s, and I didn't know exactly how my body would react. Cutting a little bit of weight and trying to get that weight back down. So I feel like when I got that call for Trey Ogden, I got on like 12 weeks, so it was like plenty enough time. And I started just going, as hard as I can in training. And I tried to carry that out through the 12 weeks, and getting my weight low, dieting, and I felt like I just kept hitting a couple walls, and I felt like it was just kind of rough for me. And then I started doing some cross training. I went over to Kill Cliff, and I got some training over there. That humongous gym with a lot of high level, talented guys over there. Of course, some of the coaches from the Ultimate Fighter got to train with Michael Chandler a little bit, and Sean Soriano, who was a coach from the Ultimate Fighter last season. And
Nice.
Training camp was good. I just felt like I really overworked, and then I think just the traveling nonstop on airports and stuff like that maybe picked up a little cold and stuff like that. It was hard to shake, so
Yeah.
it was a rough training camp. I definitely feel like this training camp has been 10 times better. I feel good. I feel like I'm in great shape, healthy, and yeah, man, it's almost go time.
That's solid. That's solid. And I guess when you it sounds like you got like a prolific repertoire of skill sets to tap into, when it comes to training, right? You get to train with Michael Chandler, like you said. You had, of course, those guys over at Kill Cliff in the last camp too. But that must be helping you really round out your skill set when it comes to these I guess new upcoming guys in the UFC that don't really have a lot of track record in terms of how they fight and what they're going to be bringing to the table. So you kind of got to keep yourself open, prepared for all things, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I haven't had the chance to go back to Kill Cliff for this fight. I kind of just did most of this at home and going between, my coach I'm going to right now in Mobile, Alabama, and then my home team right here in Franklinton, Louisiana, and in Hammond, Louisiana. Just kind of been bouncing back and forth there. I did do last week. I was out in Vegas, and I hit some time out at the UFC PI. Had a couple guys come out and help me out there, and we spent the week training at the PI, so that's always good. But yeah, man, nothing really different or special. Just I felt like I was a lot smarter in this training camp.
Yeah. Okay, no, cool. And you got to, I mean, you know your body, right? And you're someone who is a coach yourself. So you kind of know where those limits are. You're only just kind of refining it a little bit more. And that's quite cool and exciting. But, this is, of course, I had a little comment there pop up on screen. It was Moyes dialing in, but just saying there that you're going to be submitting your upcoming opponent. But let's talk about that, because this is your second stint coming back in UFC, of course. After that tough 31 win, it was quite a way to come back as well. That triangle choke was just so slick. We don't really see you initiate a lot of the grappling too much in many of your fights. I pinned you for a bit more of a stand-up and pressure striker kind of guy. So is that a bit of a secret weapon you think is going to be coming back? We're going to see a little bit more of that up against Kaynan in your next fight?
Yeah, you just never know. I do have, and that's really my background. I started off in jiu-jitsu basically before I did anything. And so, yeah, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, I have good jiu-jitsu. I would rather stay on my feet and kickbox, and, but my victories are kind of split. I want to say I'm almost like half and half, like 10 victories by submission or 11, and then 10 or 9 by knockout. So, yeah. I think it all depends on the opponent and where the fight goes and what they try to do, right? Yeah. Most of my submission wins have came from guys putting me down or trying to, out wrestle me. And then, I'm able to catch them in submissions or in transitions and get that submission win. And then a lot of times the guys that want to stand up and put on a show, I wind up knocking out. So, I'm not picky though, man. I'll take either one.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, if you get done with the hands, and look, by all means, right? It's there, it's open for it. They're asking for it. But what do you think your strengths would be then? I guess against Kaynan Kruschewsky in the next fight. If watching his tape or studying him as well as you know him now at this point, you probably got a little bit of an idea as to what to be up against. Where would your strengths lie, do you reckon?
I think it's going to be the pressure. It's going to be the pressure that I can put on him. I'm going to force him to do things he's not comfortable doing. But with that being said, I mean, he likes to fight, man. He's going to come in. He's going to try to fight me. He's going to come forward. He's going to want to fight on the feet for a little while. But I think once I start overwhelming him, he'll start looking to wrestle a little bit. And as we've seen in the past, that can lead to submission wins for me. So, yeah, I've watched quite a bit of film on him. I like the style. I like the matchup. He would be a style that I would say I love to fight.
Nice.
Nothing against the style. I don't think he's a bad fighter. But I like those styles. I like guys that are technical. It's going to get in your face. They're going to brawl a little bit. That's the guys that I feel like I do well against.
Yeah. Cool. You can kind of you're comfortable with those particular styles of matchup. You've been there before. I like that. Okay, no, I get that. Well, look, all the best for that upcoming fight. You know, I'm watching it, breaking it down. The guys and I, we do like watch alongs to main cards week in and week out. So we're certainly going to be rooting for your corner the moment that flicks over. But yeah, guys, thanks for your comments in the chats. Feel free to put your questions in. We'll get to some of those questions a little bit later as well. But before we do, just going to touch a little bit on Tough 32. It's currently airing right now. Have you had a chance to watch it, Kurt?
Yeah, I started out. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes, and I actually watched the last episode because I got a little bit of inside info before that fight happened. And it was like, man, the fight that's going to happen this week is going to be epic, man. It's
Yeah.
going to be a crazy fight. Dana gets into the ring afterwards, and talks to both guys. So I did watch that one, and it's always cool, when you go through something, and then something like the Ultimate Fighter, right? I went through it, and then I get a chance to watch it after me. It makes it a little bit more exciting, I guess,
Oh, really?
because you know what's going on behind the scenes. You know a lot more about it. So, yeah, I definitely watched the first 2 episodes and the last episode. I'm trying to keep up with it a little bit. It's just, I've been training a lot, been in training camp. I haven't really had all the time in the world to watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, it's cool to
It gives you a bit.
just to know that. Yeah, yeah, and just like being that I won the show, and seeing what's entitled and what goes into it. It's pretty cool to watch.
Nice, yeah. I guess once you've had a peek behind the curtain, you kind of got a different perspective on it now. So it's yeah, it's exciting.
Exactly.
Because we sat down with Cody Gibson, actually JK did, and he was of course on the Tough show as well. He told us that so much happened, but the scenes got cut out, a lot of them anyway. Apparently, quite some prolific pranksters on the show. You notice that as well?
No, for sure. And yeah, there was a lot more that I think they could have showed that would have made that season a lot more funnier for one, and it would have made it a lot better. Now I can say this: I do not think this season of The Ultimate Fighter is stacking up to the season I was on.
Okay.
Last season, Tough 31. I thought our season was so far a lot better. And I think that's just today's Ultimate Fighter now. And the reason why I believe it is because it's on ESPN. It's a major sporting network. So the UFC or the ESPN, they don't want a lot of that garbage in there. They don't want guys getting drunk, trash in the house, and a lot of that stuff just because of the network that it's on. They're trying to show what the sport of MMA and the UFC is all about for real. And they don't. I'm guessing they don't want that mixed around with guys getting drunk and breaking doors and making an ass out of themselves. So
yeah.
I feel like that's why they kind of structured the Ultimate Fighter to run like it's running now. They don't show a whole bunch in the house. They show a little bit, and then they show a little bit about each guy. Show them training in the Ultimate Fighter, and then there's the fight. So
yeah.
They cut out a lot of the stuff that happens actually at the
Not like it
house
used to be.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not like it used to be.
It's a bit of a shame, really. But do you reckon they would, after getting that feedback, because it was the first time it was on ESPN last year, wasn't it?
Yep.
And
First time it was on actual live ESPN.
yeah. So do you reckon it's after getting that feedback, they would be looking to make some adjustments, or I guess we can only cross our fingers and hope it does go back to what it used to be like? Because I think a lot of people like that, how it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, maybe so. But like there was no drama really inside the house with us. There was a lot of guys throwing pranks.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody on our season kind of came close together, whether he was a veteran, whether he was a prospect. All the guys in the house kind of seemed to vibe a little bit. Become pretty good friends and play pranks on each other. And there was a lot that was definitely cut out that could have possibly made that season even better.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, because you didn't have any bad blood with anyone, really, did you? I mean, pretty easy-going guy to get on with.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I am. Of course, I had Lee Hammond up first, and that was the very first fight made, right? Because we made all the fights in like the first day that we went into the house. And then you know, he was the only guy that I didn't really talk to, and it's because I was fighting, and even after the fight, we still didn't really talk a whole bunch. But everybody else in the house, man, even my opponent Jason Knight, we hung out every day, even after we was booked to fight. We hung out, and played cards, cooked for each other every day.
Wow.
So
Look
that
at
was
that.
cool.
Look at that. And I mean, would your family also say that you're that easy to live with, or just the guys on the show? Or
I hope so, man. I feel like I'm pretty easygoing. Of course, there's always some things, but I think I'm easygoing.
Yeah. They'll forgive you for it. They forgive you for it. All right, we're going on to the bit where we're going to get some fan questions in as well, and everyone's going to get a chance to just kind of get to know you a little bit more too. But I guess one thing I did want to kind of touch on as a leading question, as we do get into that for the fans and open up to them, is the fact that I really love that you yourself, right? You're 37 now. I think 38 September, and there's no real signs of you going anywhere anytime soon. But what kind of hopes do you have for the future in the UFC?
I hope to just keep climbing up the ladder,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm 37 years old, but I've always been that guy that, whenever I was 18 or 20, I still looked like I was 15. So I've always felt like I was I always looked younger than what I was. So even right now, I don't feel like I'm 37. When I stop and think about it, I'm like, wow, I'm 37 years old, but I don't feel 37, and I don't feel that I look 37. So
Right.
I feel like as long as I can win some fights,
You don't fight like it either. You fight well.
I'm just hoping that 22 top 5.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I'm like, man, as long as I can get up every morning, get in shape, hang with all the guys that I train with, I feel like I can still be around for quite a few more years.
Okay, honestly, I think a lot of the fans would love to hear that. I'm loving the fact that they're hearing that right now. But speaking of which, let's get into some of those questions here. We have a Moise in the chats, and he's quite confident you're going to be getting the dub on your next fight. So that's pretty awesome. But I also got Aaron McNally, and he's chiming in. He's asking basically, he says, "Sup, Kurt, watching you for a long time now, do you think that Lee Hammond can make it to the UFC?"
I think Lee can definitely make it to the UFC. He's full of talent, and I mean you've seen that in my fight. He won, the first round and a half, and I had to pull that win out of the bag. Right, I had to just stay a little patient, rely on my veteranness, but yeah, he has all the tools in the world. He's got good coaches. I think he just needs to get some cardio, man.
Yeah.
He just has a little bit of trouble finishing his fights. Even he had one fight after me that he dominated. Threatened submission the entire time, beat the guy up for a good round and a half, and just put everything into it. Came back out and got overwhelmed because he was tired. And me personally, I would love to see Lee in the UFC.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's for you, Aaron. Thanks for your question over there. Let's have a look then. We've got also Wales to NJ. Wales to NJ is chiming in. He says, "Salute, fellas." And he's asked a question. He says, "Kurt, if anything, what did you learn from training with Chandler on Tough? And how do you reckon McGregor versus Chandler will ever happen?"
So man, I can't even say how much that I learned, with all of those coaches being on Tough. I definitely learned that I can fight with high level guys, and just having guys like Michael Chandler and Drysdale and Coach Jason Strauss, Sean Soriano,
Yep.
all of those guys that we had. You learn a little bit from everybody, and then that stays with you forever. So definitely learned a lot from those guys.
That's solid. That's solid. I did actually miss a question a bit earlier. MMA anomaly. I apologize, right, profusely, my guy. He asked a question. He says, "Hey, Kurt, long time fan, but thanks for being so nice at IFW last year." So he met you. But he says, "Here's a question: what did you learn on or improve the most while at Kill Cliff?"
Just wrestling, man, because there's so many guys at Kill Cliff. And the thing about Kill Cliff is, there's so many guys from all around the world. You got guys from Dagestan, you got guys from Russia, you got guys from Japan, wherever, and all of these guys are good. The whole room is high UFC level, and it's just a straight grind over there, man. It's nonstop, but and that's one of the main reasons why I went over to Kill Cliff is to learn wrestling, be able to wrestle better, whether getting up or putting the guy down.
Yeah. We saw you Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like when you kind of get in those positions, how slick that can be. So, no, that certainly makes sense to kind of really round out the rest of that skill set. That's decent. And from Aaron McNally, once again, he says, are you friends with any of the guys from Conor's team from last year's Season's Tough? I remember, of course, I think speaking with Cody, he was saying that, there's like chat groups and you guys will keep in touch. So has that still happened? Has that persisted even now with those guys from Conor's team?
Yeah, we do have a group chat with most of the guys from the Ultimate Fighter, and honestly, I think there's only two guys that are not in the group chat, and that's Lee Hammond and Brad Katona. So no,
they can't sit with
really
us.
Keep in touch with those guys over there. So yeah, I don't. Every now and then I'll chat with Lee on Instagram and stuff like that. Haven't really seen Brad Katona lately. So yeah, man, haven't really talked to those guys.
Do you reckon you'll do any kind of reunion?
Guys, I would hope so. We've actually talked about that before, one day just, trying to get back out to Vegas, get all the guys and, do a little tough reunion, man, because, I mean, that was historic for everybody in the house.
Yeah. No.
So that would be pretty cool.
That would be. It'll be a shame if the reunion happens before they actually fight, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. But yeah, back to that question too, man. Hopefully the fight happens. At this point in time, I just don't think anybody really knows. I guess the only ones that really know is Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. And I feel like it's definitely Conor McGregor's side that is preventing the fight from happening.
Yeah.
With this pinky toe, I guess. But I don't know, man. Hopefully it gets set. Hopefully that fight happens. I feel like it has to.
Yeah.
If you're Michael Chandler, you've already waited, quite a few years.
Might as well.
He doesn't have nothing else really to prove. I know, he came out and said that they offered him Makachev. I don't know, man. Hopefully we get to see that fight though.
Yeah, true, absolutely. And I guess if you're Chandler, you're waiting out, or would you be like trying to stay active, find another fighter?
If I'm Chandler, I'm just seeing what's the next best thing. And if the UFC says, look, man, I just don't think this fight's going to happen with Conor. Here, do you want Makachev? Do you want this other big fight? I think for Chandler, if something's going to detour him away from Conor McGregor, it's going to have to be really, really big.
Yeah. Gotcha. Next one up, and real quickly, and we'll be wrapping up shortly, but we've got some Irish flags here from JK. I'm guessing that was earlier when I asked the question of what you kind of see for your future here in the UFC. I think he was whacking up some some Irish contestants perhaps that you could be fighting. But I do know you previously mentioned about Paddy Pimblett, of course, maybe potentially fighting him. Is that still something of interest, do you reckon? Or like, not obviously now, but eventually, do you reckon you'll get there? Is something you're still interested in doing?
I'm 100% interested in fighting Paddy one day, and that was one of the main things. I felt like, I had a good little platform. I won the Ultimate Fighter, went through a tough row of guys, and I felt like that was the time to make that call out, because I've always been a guy that's never really vocalized anything that I wanted. I've never called out anybody. So for me to win the show, I felt like that would be a pretty good call out. And I want to fight guys that are going to get me noticed. I want big fights. I've been around the UFC for a long time now. I made my UFC debut back in 2013.
Yeah.
I think I was in the UFC maybe before Conor McGregor was. And of course, had a lot of ups and downs, in and out the UFC quite a bit. But I feel like I'm a guy that's been around, and yeah, man, if I can get a couple wins and get back on a win streak, maybe I deserve a big fight.
Hey, look, I think you absolutely deserve a big fight for sure. And just popped a little chat up there, but Aaron McNally was saying, "Take my money." Oof, I'd love to see it. you know. But yeah, I think we've got time for just one or so more questions, and then we'll go to wrap up. I know as you guys are on journey to get somewhere, and I don't want to take up all of your time, and I really appreciate for what you've given us so far, anyway. But Aaron McNally, sorry, had just mentioned back on the UFC Tough, 31. Was Brad as much of a diva as he seemed on TV? Is what he's asking. But
yeah, I don't think there's one guy in the house that would say otherwise. But like I always tell everybody, though, man, I never had no problems with Brad. I've always talked with Brad nicely. He never did anything wrong to me. But Brad's a bit of a diva. I think he'll tell you that himself.
Fair. So I guess, yeah, he's pretty diva-like. But yeah, I mean, these guys loved it. Aaron was tuning into it, JK, and you got Ash as well. But yeah, man, that's cool. I think that's all for the questions. Another one from, or one more in actually from Aaron McNally. He was just saying about another question. How is the second round tough system feel like, or what does it feel like? Do you feel like a 3-round bout should happen?
Yeah, well, so the first fight, the quarterfinals, was only 2 rounds, unless it was a draw. Then you go to a sudden victory, which I guess that's cool, because if you win, you're gonna fight again in maybe around 10 days.
Yeah.
So you're fighting pretty close together. I think that's why the first round is only 2 rounds, because the less you have to fight, the less damage you might possibly take. And if you can win the 2 rounds, there's no need for a third round. But yeah, if it's 1-1, it goes to a third. Now the semifinals were 3 rounds. So those, no matter what, win or lose the round, you're going 3 rounds.
Okay. Yeah, fair. And yeah, just from Shango V saying, thanks for your time, of course, there as well. But look, that's all we got for questions. All the time we got for questions. I want to thank you personally for your time as well, Kurt. I mean, it's been great. Thanks for your time to stop and chat to us. Just talking a bit about what to expect coming into your next fight, of course, as well. But one final question from me to really kind of wrap it up, and then we can say goodbye to everyone. As everyone knows, we've got UFC 304 around the corner. So, of course, that's going to be a big fight over here in the UK. I mean, the timing of it is, still something that's a little bit of a sore point for a lot of us British folk. But the content of it hasn't disappointed us too much either. It's good. It's Edwards versus Muhammad 2. What's your take on that fight? How do you think it's going to go? Does Muhammad continue this streak, or does he get stopped by Leon Edwards?
So I definitely think Rafael Muhammad is definitely the guy that should be challenging for the title. He's on a big win streak, been campaigning for a long time, beat some tough guys.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. I don't know if he'll be able to get it done against Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards, the guy that's been around for a long time, has fought a lot of tough guys, and that resume includes Kamaru Usman twice, who is maybe what everybody would say is the greatest welterweight of all time, and he did it twice. He beat him twice. So I'm gonna have to go with Leon Edwards on this one. I think he's coming into his own. With him being able to get those wins over somebody like Kamaru Usman, I think it's gonna really help him out against Muhammad.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how that first win against Kamaru Usman had done huge for the confidence of Leon Edwards. Like the way he sort of handled him in the second, it was no question that he's a champ. But in the first fight, he did struggle with Kamaru Usman up until the very last moment. And it was the wrestling that really troubled him, of course. But yeah, something about after that win gave him confidence. And the second time around, it wasn't even as close as the first, So you think he's going to keep on that trajectory, that the wrestling of Muhammad, it isn't going to stifle Edwards too much the way that Kamaru Usman was able to really use it to his advantage the first time around?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if Muhammad's wrestling is as good as Kamaru Usman's, and we don't know what Muhammad's going to look like in that 4th and 5th round if it goes there. Can you keep that wrestling pace up if you're trying to take Leon Edwards down? And Leon Edwards' wrestling has improved tremendously also. Look how he countered wrestling he counter wrestled Usman a little bit in that second fight. Was able to get a takedown or two of his own, and really make Kamara work.
Yeah. Yeah. True. All right. Well, look, thanks for your opinions on that. We're going to be heading up to Manchester for that fight. We're going to be around for like a lot of the fan engagement in the week leading up to it. And then, of course, we're going to be doing our watch-alongs for the event as we do anyway for every event that happens. But look, I appreciate your time. And we're coming to the end now of this this little Q&A segment. But the floor is yours, Kurt. Anything that you wanted to say, a little announcement or anyone you want to shout out before we close?
Yeah, just thank everybody that's been helping me throughout this training camp. My friends, my family, all of my training partners, everybody. I couldn't do it without those guys. So big thanks to all of them.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, man, we're definitely in your corner as well. Yeah, we're going to be watching it live, doing a full watch along for it as well with the fans and the guys here. And so, yeah, we're going to be cheering you on, man. Thanks again for your time. Thanks again for jumping on. And yeah, all the best of luck.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
No problem. Take care. All safe journey, guys. Take care and enjoy the rest of that training session when you get there. But thanks very much. And just to say to everyone who's watching, thanks again for your comments, for chiming in. Do like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you guys this weekend for the next watch along, which will be done with Ash and I covering Rose Namajunas. And she's going to be up against Cortez as well. So look, like, subscribe, stay tuned in, and we'll be there this weekend. But farewell for now. Thanks again, Kurt. Appreciate you, man. Have a safe journey. And all you guys, stay safe. Love, peace, and chicken grease.